Welcome to Caroline Allen, Green Party Animal Policy and the Greater London Assembly Elections 2012. Before you have a picture of Caroline Allen's homepage from her blog. Currently it's the only blog I personally follow. This next slide is a blog entry Caroline posted on Wednesday the 23rd of February 2011. Its title is Our New Animal Policy Leaflet. It reads, "Do have a look at the page I've just added. It's the new GP, i.e. Green Party Animal Policy Leaflet that will be available at conference on request to local parties and should soon be on the resources section of the members' website to be downloaded. I wrote this leaflet along with Tim Turner and with much helpful input from members of the Animal Policy List. I hope you find it useful / informative." Before looking at the actual leaflet, however, let's quickly look at the left-hand column, which is about Caroline. Under About Me, it reads, "I am the constituency candidate for the Green Party in Islington, Hackney and Waltham Forest for the London Assembly Elections 2012. As well as being a Green Party activist and being heavily involved in community campaigning, I work full-time as a vet, based in Islington, a job I love." So now turning to the Green Party Animal Policy Leaflet, we can see the front page, which is on the right. It reads, "The Green Party believes we should live in a world where animals do not suffer cruelty and exploitation at the hands of humans. The Green Party is the only parliamentary party with strong animal policies at the heart of its manifesto, as an integral part of our plans for a sustainable future." The left-hand side of this leaflet is in fact the back page, so let's look at pages 2 and 3 before we look at the back page. I'll start on the left-hand side in the green part of the text. It says, "End factory farming, there is another way. Factory farming treats animals like machines, not sentient beings. Antibiotics and other drugs are relied upon to fight infections and illnesses common when animals are stressed and crowded together. Unable to behave normally, frustrated animals may injure themselves and their companions. Rather than deal with the root causes, animals are mutilated. We deplore the government's decision to delay the ban on beak trimming of hens. It is time to end the cruelty and waste of factory farming." And in the white block it reads, "More than 850 million animals are slaughtered for food every year in the UK. Most of these animals are farmed intensively, kept in unhygienic and cramped conditions, with high levels of disease and distress. In addition to appalling animal suffering, intensive farming pollutes land and rivers with animal waste, uses unsustainable levels of water, destroys rainforests to produce animal feed, contributes to climate change, leads to food shortages since food that could be eaten by people is fed to animals." The Green Party Animal Policy Leaflet ends talking about factory farming by saying the Green Party would phase out all forms of factory farming, which is good, support small-scale free-range units and sustainable farming methods, prohibit live export and minimise the internal live transport of farm animals, and lastly, the Green Party would encourage a reduction in consumption of meat and dairy products. And now jumping over to the right hand side of the leaflet under Defend the Hunting Act. This reads, "The Green Party opposes the killing of or infliction of pain or suffering upon animals in the name of sport or leisure. We call for the retention and proper enforcement of the Hunting Act and the closing of all loopholes. Any attempt to repeal the Hunting Act will be resisted strongly by the Green Party." Under the paragraph about defending the Hunting Act, It reads animal testing and experimentation. It reads 3.5 million animals were used for experiments in UK labs in 2009. These animals live in barren environments and may undergo painful procedures. Animal testing often gives misleading results, wasting money and putting human lives at risk from adverse reactions. In fact, 92% of new drugs successful in animal studies go on to fail in human clinical trials. The Green Party believes that non-animal test methods have the potential to be more reliable and offer better protection of public health than animal tests currently do. It continues, through the use of advanced methods and careful experimental design, research using animals can and should also be replaced. The claim that animal experimentation is essential to medical development is not supported by scientific evidence. And it finishes by saying the Green Party would end animal testing and experimentation and increase investment in alternatives. And the last paragraph on this side of the leaflet reads, against the badger cull. The Green Party recognises bovine TB is a serious concern for farmers. However, scientific evidence suggests that any cull of badgers would make the problem worse. We also believe it is unethical to remove an indigenous species from a wide area of the countryside. We need to invest in vaccine development and in research to understand the factors that promote the spread of TB among cattle. So that is the end of pages 2 and 3. Obviously this leaflet is intended to be folded. So now we'll go back to page 4, which would be the back of the leaflet, and we'll read what that says. The back of the leaflet has a picture of Caroline Lucas on it, on the left there, with her head on her hand. I happen to know that Caroline is a vegetarian. I don't think she's a vegan. I know the deputy leader, Adrian Ramsey, is a vegan, and I'm not sure about Caroline Allen, whether she is a vegetarian, a vegan, or a carnivore. Anyhow, the back of this leaflet reads, Great EU success on fur. Green Party leader Caroline Lucas MP was one of the co-sponsors of the legislation to ban the import of seal products into the EU. This ban came into effect in August 2010 and will save hundreds of thousands of seals from slaughter. The Green Party will continue to work towards a full ban on the import of all fur products. And the last part of the leaflet is about companion animals and circuses. It reads, with a rise in the number of healthy domesticated animals, particularly dogs, being euthanized due to irresponsible pet ownership and breeding, as well as antisocial behaviour amongst some dog owners becoming a major concern, the Green Party would introduce dog licences, with all breeders requiring special licences. The Green Party believes that pet shops should be much more tightly regulated and would prohibit the import of animals for the exotic pet trade. Circuses are no place for animals. Animals are moved from place to place, often in inadequate accommodation and with evidence of inappropriate and sometimes cruel training methods and treatment. It is no surprise that a DEFRA consultation found that 94.5% of respondents wanted a ban on wild animals in circuses. The coalition government has ignored the strength of public feeling and has delayed the plans for such a ban. The Green Party will prohibit the use of animals in circuses. So there you have it. That is the Green Party Animal Policy leaflet. And I think you'll agree with me that it would be a massive improvement in the welfare of animals if it was to be instigated at a national level. However, we obviously realise that it's a long way to go before that's going to happen. Anyway, I'm now going to look at Caroline Allen's and the Green Party's chances in the 2012 London Assembly elections. This first slide gives a definition of the additional member system, which is the voting system used to elect political representatives to the London Assembly. It's taken from the Electoral Reform Society's website. In the blue box it tells you about the institutions and national governments, etc., that use the additional member system to elect leaders, elect representatives. This system is also known as mixed member proportional. So if you look in the blue box, the Scottish Parliament, the Welsh Assembly, as just mentioned, the Greater London Assembly, which we're looking at, the German Bundestag, New Zealand's House of Representatives, Mexico's Cámara de Diputados, Lower House, Bolivia's Cámara de Diputados, Lower House, I'm sure I'm pronouncing those fantastically, and lastly, I'm ashamed to say, I don't know this country, it says Lesotho's National Assembly, Lower House. I could just read out the following paragraph, but I think it might confuse you a little bit. There's also a grammatical mistake in it, which you could look for. It's disproportionality, it should say, if there's any foreign students reading this or listening to this. Anyhow, I'm going to explain it in my own words. Basically, you get 2 votes. The first vote is like the first past the post system which we have in our general elections, and that is where you put a cross next to the person who you want to represent you in your constituency. In this particular case, Caroline Allen is representing Islington, Hackney and Waltham Forest, so if you want her to represent you, you put a cross next to her name. This is how 14 of the 25 members of the London Assembly are elected, i.e. first past the post. However, there are 11 more seats that are allocated by a London-wide top-up vote. And here, Labour, Conservative, Tories and the Green Party all put in a list of candidates. You don't vote for them individually or personally or by name, but you vote for the party that you want to vote for, and then whoever is at the top of these lists are the ones that are allocated the further 11 seats on the London Assembly. This is all going to become clear as I go through other slides, so don't worry if you don't quite understand it at the moment. So on this slide you can see that there's 25 seats to be contested. In 2008 the Conservatives won 11, Labour won 8, Liberal Democrats 3, Greens 2 and 1 was won by the BNP, which is the British National Party. So how are we going to explain this? So that's 25 seats and 14 are directly elected, so that makes 6 plus 5, 11. That means there are 11, as I said before, that will be won by list votes. And this is how I first came to know about Caroline Allen, because as a member of the Green Party I'm asked to vote for my preference to be on the London Assembly lists, and I voted for Caroline. I'll quickly say the seats that haven't been won by first past the post system, which is the 14 that are done by first past the post. The 11, the top up votes, this is a proportional part of the voting system, and therefore it gives a better chance for the smaller parties to actually get a seat. Myself, I'm very much in favour of proportional representation, because I do believe it represents the views of the people much fairer than first past the post. I mean, there are certain areas in Britain, if you're a Conservative, your vote counts for very little. In the general election in 2010, for instance, the Scottish Conservatives gained a sixth of the votes and ended up with only one seat out of 59, when really, under a proportional voting system, they would have ended up with nearly 10 seats. Okay, here we are at another slide. Now this slide is the slide that represents the first past the post part of this electoral system. If you read down, you will see that there are 14 directly elected constituencies. I won't read them all out, but if you go from the third from the bottom, it says North East. And North East is Hackney, Islington and Waltham Forest. And if you go along to the Green Party column, you will see Caroline Allen there. I believe Caroline Allen has no chance whatsoever of getting a seat on the Greater London Assembly like this, because it will either be a Conservative or a Labour, and almost certainly this area is Labour, so the Labour person will win. Now this slide is about the London-wide lists, and as I said, I voted for Caroline Allen, and all the political parties, they all probably, I don't know if they all do, but they would all make up a list. I don't know if it's democratically, they all democratically elect the list candidates democratically, like the Green Party. I'm not sure about that. But we are all asked to vote, and like I say, I voted for Caroline Allen. Now, Caroline Allen is 9th on the list, behind Jenny Jones, Darren Johnson, Noel Lynch, Natalie Bennett, Shahara Ali, Farid Bachat, Charlotte Dingle, Sue Luxton, and then 9th is Caroline Allen. So going back to this slide, we can see that in 2008 the Greens got 2 seats on the London Assembly. I can say with some certainty that they wouldn't have got any seats through the first past the post part of the additional member system. So these 2 seats must have come from the proportional part, i.e. the 11 seats that are allocated proportionally. So therefore the 2 people highest up on the list will be the ones that get the seats this time, and that is Jenny Jones and Darren Johnson. Unfortunately, Caroline Allen is 9th on the list, so she has practically no chance whatsoever of getting a seat on the London Assembly in the 2012 elections. I'm going to end this piece shortly, but I'm just going to go back to have another look at an entry on Caroline Allen's blog. The title is Greens launch action plan for animals, and this is the action plan that if Jenny Jones or Darren Johnson, or hopefully one more Green candidate, gets onto the London Assembly, they will try and promote while they're there. The link is, well, it's in faded green there, www.jennyforlondon.org, and then a content, uploads, action plan for animals, and I'll quickly just look at it briefly, just the titles anyway. Here we are at the action plan that can be obtained through Jenny Jones's website. It says animals are important, green policies for the London 2012 mayoral and assembly elections. And at the bottom it says animal testing, which is one of the main titles, and to its right it says farmed animals. So I'll read out one paragraph from each column. Under animal testing, let's look at the second one. Work to make London a world centre for non-animal biomedical research. That's very positive indeed. And under farm animals at random, I'll take the third paragraph, and it says produce comprehensive information on vegetarian and vegan diets for all boroughs and authorities so that all London schools, hospitals and prisons offer healthy vegetarian and vegan options. So again, very positive. The second page titles, and this is the last page. The titles on the left, it is companion animals, and on the right it is wild animals. And again, I'll take 2 paragraphs, one from each column at random. Let's take the bottom one of companion animals. It reads, work to end the practice of wild-caught exotic pets being sold in pet shops and discourage the keeping of wild animals as pets. And under wild animals, let's take the penultimate paragraph, and it says adequate resources for the Metropolitan Police Wildlife Crime Unit. And at the bottom it has Jenny Jones's links to her website where you can find the whole thing and read it in your own time.